This is where we are now with investigations on cases involving domestic-related offenses. The police are under a directive and pressure, frankly, to pursue an allegation of a complainant without any real investigation other than taking a statement from the complainant. And in some cases, they may be happy to take a statement from an accused thinking that they can flip them and get incriminating evidence. But it's not a situation where the majority of time they will ever take the information from the accused and use it as part of their investigation to determine what may be truthful. That just doesn't happen. That does not happen. That's not the world we live in here. So no matter what an accused person says to a police officer during the initial stages of an investigation, it won't make a difference.
They're looking only for things that will reinforce the accusations, and their avoidance of anything that will undermine the accusations.
And I want to be fair to police because there are a number of times where I've seen the interviews and I've seen police officers trying to take the step to say, don't speak to me, because they understand that they're handcuffed. They understand that they don't have discretion. They understand that they really can't investigate. They don't have the resources, they don't have the infrastructure, and they don't have the directive.
And that's one of the things that this
So they say, just save it.
Said.
Save it and deal with your lawyer and then work it out through the system. But even if their intentions are good that way, what does that tell us where we are as far as criminal justice and investigations?
Well, I think around the third time where he was asking for this to be explained to him, the officer said, well, I'm not in charge of this case, so he's just collecting information and somebody else is making the decisions, right? And then he had to explain, because he's like, you are going to go to trial. So he's like, okay, so then the judge is going to look at it and decide if I should be charged? And he was like, no. Then the judge is going to decide if you're guilty or not guilty. But it was just like that essential phase of investigation. He couldn't figure out how it would be missing. And it is confusing because they say things to you, the police, like, well, I'm sure you don't want people to think you're the kind of person who could do this, right? That's one of the big tactics to get people to talk. So, but the problem with giving a statement, knowing first of all that they're really just looking for information that will support the charges. Another problem with it is that you don't actually really know the accusation first. So you can end up talking about a bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with the accusation.
Correct.
And they're permitted to lie to you, the police?
Well, yes. In more extreme cases, they will do a ruse in order to get information. But they're permitted to use tactics to get you to give evidence that would be inculpatory, so would be against your interest, and they're entitled to do that. And you can be quiet. You have a right to remain silent, and they do a decent job, if not a very good job, of advising you to be quiet and seek counsel and shut up when you're being interviewed. Right. And that's why I've seen plenty of officers in the interview stage say, don't talk to us. And I give them credit for that. Yeah. But from a moral, from a integrity perspective of the process, we have come to a point where no matter what somebody says when they're interviewed, it won't change the course of events. And the police do not have the authority to investigate. Only maybe in rare circumstances. You're dealing with homicides or other things. But in these types of cases, they're not doing that. And so that's why you and I may be overemphasizing this, but I think it's very important for somebody to understand, if they give a shit about criminal justice, and if they are truly, if somebody's watching this and they have that distorted, insane belief that people don't get falsely accused of criminal allegations on a regular and consistent basis, you're just on Mars.
Or the
because
charges
that happens.
Wouldn't be laid if there wasn't evidence.
Right. And again, I just faced this again today. Evidence can be the statement of, I had some poor guy who called me today. He's in a separation. His wife wanted to go back to the country where she originally is from and take the kids. He's saying, I'm not giving my consent. She called police, said that he threatened to kill her. He's arrested. She's off on the flight. Mm-hmm. Right? So,
they have evidence because they have a phone call from her saying that he threatened her.
Yeah, they have a statement from her. That's all it is. So evidence, again, consists of a statement of a complainant, and there are good reasons why that is evidence and you don't need corroboration. That said, what we'll eventually get to is, I think, that police should investigate further. But for anybody who thinks that there are not false allegations, that's bullshit, and you're delusional. Because